So what was really the idea behind starting Fool's Gold Records?
Right, so Fool's Gold is my record label that my friend Nick Catchstubbs, who's another DJ from New York, we've been running for about 7 years now. And to give you a bit of background, I used to run another indie label before that when I was younger. My brother and I had a label called Audio Research and that's more from the era of like the late 90s, Fat Beats, Raucous, you know, the indie revival of the late 90s, you know, kind of when like Talib and Mos Def were blowing up in that whole era. We were the only label out of Montreal that had distribution through Fat Beats. And all this to say, like I was used to running an independent label myself. I knew the ins and outs of pressing up vinyl, of, you know, how to send your records out to college DJs and this and that. And even just like, there's these little mental reflexes that you have when you've run a label before, where like, if your boy has a good song, you just right away think like, let me press this up, let me put this out. I know who to get this to. I know what the artwork should look like. I know who needs to be on the B-side, this and that. Like, it's literally these reflexes that you end up training in your brain. And I had that from running another label before. But like around 2006, 2007, like the landscape of DJing was changing a lot around me and my friends, and a lot of the genres were like mixing up, and we were all doing like these really like indie parties where, you know, rather than like coming from being just a hip hop DJ, at that point we were mixing up like these French electro records that we would bring back from overseas and mix that with like, you know, southern like crunk kind of records, and then mix that with like reggae acapellas and this and that, and it was all like colliding into like what I would just call club music, but from all genres, and like Baltimore Club and things like that. And there was a lot of a lot of people making really exciting music, like, you know, Spank Rock and guys like that were coming around at that time too. And you know, so it wasn't that sort of like backpacker indie hip hop vibe anymore, which was what I used to be putting out on my previous label. You know, a lot of my friends and you know, myself and just the people in our circle were making these records that sounded really fresh and new. We decided to start something fresh, because my old label was just like known for more traditional kind of underground hip hop. So we started Fool's Gold. I was producing this artist, Kid Sister. You know, her first single was the first release on the label, and that was kind of like my pet project. We did this song Pronails that Kanye jumped on just on the strength. I didn't even ask him, just because he heard me working on it backstage one day, and I was like, he just recognized that it sounded really new and fresh, and like it was the first time that he was hearing, you know, some of those like electronic beats mixed with rap. And coming from Chicago, you know, he understood kind of like the house connection. So Ye jumped on it. We got the video on MTV, made this really creative video for like $5 for nothing. And then everything kind of built from there. We had the cool kids running with us really early before they signed their deal. We signed Cudi really early on. We put out Day and Night. Then we got him the Crookers remix for Day and Night. That became a huge like top 2, top 3 record overseas in every country. You know, then Jim Jones jumped on the original version of Day and Night. Next thing you know, that's playing on the radio, playing on Hot 97, playing in LA, The Beat, all this shit. They're all supporting us. All this, you know, from an independent label that my friend and I were running just ourselves out of his apartment with no real office for the first year. Just, you know, putting out dope records, making the best artwork that we can find, and you know, branding everything, doing our own tours with our own artists, headlining, like really grassroots from the ground up. And for me, you gotta remember also at that point, like I was used to like, I had a certain stature as a DJ where I was playing like really big festivals and touring with Kanye and playing on, you know, the Grammys, the VMAs, all this stuff. But around that time, like 06, 07, it was actually really exciting for me to like scale everything down and go play these really like grimy little parties where people were making new music, because it sounded like nothing else that I had heard. And I think that was really essential to build like a new foundation for everything that I've been doing since, to sort of like scale back down and really touch down with like what was going on in the underground, and hearing the newest sounds and producing some of it myself and remixing and all this stuff. And we built a whole scene from that.